Mike should be up, and hello everyone! Hello! I'm back again with another stream. This will actually be our first just chatting stream. Before I start and we jump right into it, I did want to say thank you for the last 2 follows. Oh lord, hold on. Let me pull up their names, cause, oops, wrong one. I need, there we go. Hold on. Cause it's showing the last person, but it's not showing the person before. I want to shout them out too. Go here. Okay. Uh, LTX. I'm butchering this so wrong. Pretty much AWETIXM and Ghost Body. Thank you two for the 2 follows, because thanks to them, we were able to reach our 25 goal. Alright. So, you know what's next. And now it's our 50 goal. So, thank you again for everyone who, oh, and there goes the person right now. Hello, yes. I was just shouting you out for the follow. You and Ghost Body. With you two, we were able to reach our 25 goal. So now we are going to push for the 50. Push for the 50, because you need 50 to be a Twitch affiliate. So that's our next goal, you guys. Since you followed me 2 days ago, did I not shout you out before? I did not. I'm so sorry about that. I changed. You recognized me right away. I changed my username too. That's surprising. Where you go to a certain option on. I'm Stockholm Syndrome. Oh, it just shows me your name. When you go to a certain part on Twitch, it can show you all the people who's followed you in the last, I think, up to like a month. So it just shows your name. Yeah, it shows that you followed me 2 days ago, and that Ghost Body followed me 4 hours ago. What is that? Yeah. So with that, I can also go back and so people who follow me maybe after stream or when I'm not live, I can go with this and I can shout them out for the follow. How did Thanksgiving go? Thanksgiving went well. Me and my family, we made a bunch of food. We made 2 different types of rice. We had turkey. We had baked macaroni. We had curry goat. We had corn, broccoli, mashed potatoes. We had fried breaded shrimp, and what else? I'm trying to think. Oh, and fish. And then for dessert, we bought these. My sister bought like this huge thing of like mini bun cakes from this store. I forget what its name. Apparently, it's like really popular because everyone apparently in my family loves it. Uh, yeah, it comes with like different flavors, so we had that for dessert. Well, soda and juice and water, and I think we even have like some sparkling thing that we actually never opened. We'll probably just save that. But or maybe we'll drink it eventually. But yeah, so thanks for me. Thanksgiving went pretty well. It was more just today. I told you guys I had to go in early tomorrow. Actually, no, I don't think I did. I went in early today because Black Friday, so stores need their employees in, and I had to be there early in the morning. But I thought my store wasn't gonna open until sometime in the morning, but like in the morning, kind of closer to it being close to like afternoon. No, once it was like 8 a.m., we were up and running, people were in, and it was just straight busy. It was insane. So I was just like, oh my god. It was literally like that, like the whole time I was there. Cause I left around like early afternoon. So luckily I wasn't there super long, but I was pretty much there for a good couple of hours. And from the moment we officially opened, because my place is also in a mall, so I guess once the mall's open, we're open. So, pardon me. So, with that, yeah, like literally, maybe got the whole time I was there, maybe there were like 2 or 3 incidents when it was like dead, and there wasn't anyone there, so we could like relax, kind of get a breather, maybe grab some water. Because we were in the mall, they were walking around, offering coffee and donuts for everyone. It was like, yeah, I mean, come on now. I mean, even though it is, Thanksgiving was yesterday, no one wants to be up early in the morning just to be in some store to help people shop. But, I would say luckily with like this seasonal position I have, it's not too bad compared to some of the other jobs I've had. Um, because it's really focused on like beauty stuff, so there's really not much you can do. It's whether you like the scent and you like the product, and then you know you buy it. And then most people don't really come in for returns, more for like exchanges. Maybe they bought a scent. Maybe if they're like a new person and maybe they bought a scent and they never tried and they didn't like it. But other than that, people don't really come in for returns, so that's a good part. I've noticed most people don't really come in for like returns. They come for like exchange. So it's not like we're still losing out. They're still just getting something, so we still make that profit. But yeah, after that I came home, I ate something a little more solid. Literally fell asleep for like maybe 2 hours. Had to get up to go get my brother from his work because he had to be at work again today. Because how it worked out with him, he had Wednesday and Thursday off, but now he works from like all the way till the weekend. Yeah, he works all weekend, all till like Tuesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe. So yeah, he's gonna be pretty busy. Yeah, which is crazy because I assumed, since now pretty much 90% of everything is online, you can do Black Friday shopping online. You don't need to be in the store, unless I guess people are still that type where they want their stuff right away, which I get. For what I'm at my store personally, I do kind of get why maybe people would want to come in and get it, but nowadays stores offer like store pickups, so you could do your shopping online, and then maybe just wait like an hour or two, and then they'll be like, "Hey, your order's ready. Come to the store and get it." Which you could do that, so that way you're not in the store, you're just in out. Which me personally, I prefer that because shopping around, especially today, it was a lot. Like there's so many people in there. Actually, and before I left, I did some little shopping of my own too. Got some Christmas gifts. I'm just missing. I mean, they have men's stuff, but for my brother, I'm planning on getting him something else. And then there's another like huge sale coming on for stuff that I know my mom would like, so I'm just waiting for that deal to come around. And then once that's done, I'll pretty much be done with Christmas shopping with everyone. I already got pretty much something for 2 people, so I just need 2 more. For him, I have an idea. I just need to get it from somewhere else. But yeah, that's pretty much how it is. I don't know, maybe it just depends. I mean, no, because even then, like, the few times I was there working before holiday season picked up, it wasn't really all that crazy. There were times it was, like, so dead that they had to, like, cut hours. But, like I said, my store is a bit different. That's the type of store where you would want your products, I guess, kind of, quote-unquote, right away, because it's, like, sprays and beauty products and stuff like that. But like I said, nowadays, almost everything's online. You can do shipping, or like I said, a lot of stores offer store pickup. You could easily do that. So, I don't know, I guess people just like the whole rush of Black Friday. Me personally, I never really liked that. Especially after hearing all the horror stories I used to hear growing up. I was like, yeah, no. I'll just do online and either pick it up and have it shipped to me. I'm not dealing with all that. But, yeah. But other than that, besides that, and just me being exhausted, really nothing else going on. But I was powering through because I really wanted to do this stream, thanks to kind of the idea coming from Neo Sticks when we were discussing some Korean, what was it, a Korean show first, and then we got talking into manhwas and mangas and webtoons like that. And I was like, you know what, that'd be a good idea for a stream. Just sit and chat and just discuss some of the manhwas I read, or some of the ones I found interesting and whatnot. So I really wanted to do this. So yeah, Sweet Home, because that was exhausted. I was on my feet the entire time, and then yeah, just came home, ate something, showered, of course, and then took like a 2.5-hour nap. So definitely right after this stream, I am curling up in my bed. I'm turning my room on to like my AC to make sure it's freezing in here, and I'm going to sleep. Thank God I don't gotta be back there. Luckily I got the weekend off, so I won't be back until Monday. So, yeah, I got the weekend off. That's a good Korean show. Which one? The one we were talking about? I forget which one was it. Was it Marry My Husband? That prompted the that prompted or the Sweet Home? Sweet Home. Where's that sound? I think that's a manhwa too. Sweet Home webtoon. I feel like I read this. Did I not? Oh, maybe not. This doesn't look familiar at all. But that is kind of what today is about, discussing manhwas and webtoons and just seeing maybe there's some that we've watched, I mean, not watched, some that we've read together, maybe some ones we can recommend. Yeah, people don't really like the show as it's different from, oh, there's a show, but I like the series. Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a show because I just looked it up and I just see the webtoon pop up. But I know they made a show about it. There's a lot of them being turned into shows, which we will actually discuss. So, enough talking, let's get into it. So this is the PowerPoint I made. There's 28 slides, but like I said, if I had done pretty much every single one I've read or I'm currently reading, that would have taken me like a month. And even then, that probably would have only been like maybe half of them. And I was like, nah, we'll just do this, and then we can go on like some websites like Webtoons and see some of the other ones, because there are some other ones I didn't put on the this PowerPoint that are on here that I have read or am reading that are really good. So let's just discuss some of the ones I put. So the first one, and actually the one that actually does have an anime series that I plan on watching, is Dr. Eliza, the Royal Lady with the Lamp. Basically, it's about the girl. She it's really funny because a lot of them are kind of like the whole, oh, she was the villainess, she died, she came back to life, and now she wants to redo everything over, which this is the same premise, but it's also different because, yeah, it was that she got engaged with the crown prince, was madly in love with him, he didn't feel the same way, she was doing everything she could to get his attention, but it was just pushing him apart. She got angry, did stupid things, ended up like ruining the country, or did some stuff that people were not happy about, got executed. And with her was she did get reincarnated, but she got reincarnated into, like, I guess you'd say, quote unquote, our world, where she grew up, became a doctor, was saving lives, and kind of saw that as like her penance to make up for all the terrible things she did in the past. But then tragedy strikes again. She ends up dying. I think it was a plane crash. Yes, right here. A plane crash. She ends up dying. And what happens? She ends up getting sent back to her first life. So she ends up back as the daughter of, I don't think it put it here, the Clarence family. I think that's the last name. Yeah, so she gets sent back to her very first life, kind of reset that, and she's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this over again. If now, especially with her knowledge of, being a well-known doctor and surgeon, she's like, no, I'm gonna break off all relations with the crown prince. I'm gonna pursue doctor medicine and whatnot in this world, which ends up being its own challenge for her, because I believe only men are like doctors in this world, and of course they look down on women who want to do that. But with her knowledge of, I guess, knowledge from her second life, that's way more advanced than what's going on in her world. She's like plowing through things. They see her as like this medical genius, and it's funny because now she's kind of seeing a different side to the crown prince. She thought maybe he hated her, was only doing it as a request from the king because the king really liked her and wanted her to be his daughter-in-law. So when she tries to break off the engagement or saying like, listen, this was a mistake, I was just being selfish, the crown prince should really choose someone else to, be his crown princess and eventually become the next queen. Of course, the emperor's not happy about it. The dad's a bit concerned, but, he wants to do what's best for his daughter. We do see different sides of the crown prince. He's, like, confused. He's like, wait, it's like she was obsessed with me before, and now suddenly she's saying she no longer feels that way about me. What's going on? And trying to learn more about her and actually seeing like this different side of her. It's such a good, it's so good. The manhwa is complete, and there was a season that they made for the series. I don't know if there's gonna be a season 2. I haven't watched the first season. I don't. I doubt it did the whole story. There's no way, because the manhwa was like chapters long. Like, oh, I think like in like 200s, I believe. But it's so good. The ending is good. She gets her happy ending of whatnot, and it's just, it's so good. I love this one. So I just wanted to talk about this one first, since this one did get an anime, and I do hope I haven't watched the first season, but I do want to watch it eventually, and I hope it continues on. Cause there's a few of them that has like a season 1, but a lot of them don't get a season 2. The only one that ever got a season 2 and hasn't come back is, what was it? My Next Life as a Villainess. Yeah, My Next Life as a Villainess. All routes lead to Doom. That got a season 2, and apparently a movie last year. When did they get a movie? Or maybe it's like one of them recap movies. I'd have to look that up. Like, do more research. If it's just continuing on where the story ended, or if it's like one of them recap movies. But yeah, this is pretty much the only like villainous reincarnation anime that got a season 2. And since then, I have not seen anything about a season 3. But yeah, I really enjoy this one. So next one, and this one also got an anime adaptation, which I did watch this one. So I hope this one comes out with a season 2. Is while Raylenelia ended up at the Duke's mansion, poisoned to death by her own betrothed. Encha, I'm butchering these names, didn't wake up in a novel story just to be killed off again as an unfortunate extra. To change her story, she needs to cover 6 months pretending to be the fake fiance of the novel's main protagonist, Duke Noah Wine Knight. But will this cold-hearted, angel-faced demon of a man really help her avoid another ill-fate ending? So basically, this is the same thing. Girl dies in our world, gets reincarnated into a book, gets reincarnated, and this time not even as the, quote-unquote villainess, ends up getting reincarnated as an extra that's supposed to like die in the beginning of the story. Basically, she's betrothed to this guy, but he only did it to because she's the eldest daughter, and then she has like a little sister that's like a couple, like way younger than her. So there's no sons in the family. You know how back in that time, normally they would need a son to inherit the family. So I think his goal was to like marry her, get access to the family's wealth and fortune and name, and was slowly killing her off. Of course, not killing her off right away, but slowly like poisoning her with like her tea and food, so that way she would eventually, quote unquote, die from natural causes, which would then entitle him to all the family's fortune and whatnot, without it looking suspicious. Of course, she knows this, and she's like, hell no, I'm not going through this again. So at first she tries, it's really funny, in the beginning she's trying to break off the engagement by any means necessary, like being horrible to him, putting him in danger, just doing the complete opposite of what he's like, I guess, sees as an ideal wife and woman. But of course nothing's doing it, because to him, his main goal is getting access to her family's fame and fortune. So with nothing else really working and him being determined to see it through to the end, she decides, you know what, I need a change of pace. Ends up meeting Duke Noah, and ends up using information from the novel to force a 6-month engagement, to break off that engagement, and also find a way to help out her family with her own strength without having to rely on her having to get married and end up falling in the same situation. And we kind of just see them bonding, seeing how the story's changing now that she is alive, past the point she was supposed to be in the story, and just her not wanting to change the stories too much. But at that point, since the fact that she is alive past the point she was supposed to be, or the character was supposed to be, the story is slowly changing before her eyes. It's such a good story. It is also one of the other ones where you think the quote-unquote female lead, the protagonist, is supposed to be like this super pure, all-round girl that could do no wrong. Everyone loves her. Everyone supports her. She's just this perfect girl. But in reality, that's not it at all. But I really enjoyed this manhwa as well. So I would definitely recommend you guys reading this one too. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, this one's good. And I think this one just finished. Let me get a piece and get some water. One sec. Okay. This one is I became the wife of the monstrous crown prince. Basically, she transmutated into the body of Anicia, the current wife of the monstrous crown prince Blake, in an R19 romance novel. In the original story, Anicia committed suicide on the day of their marriage, leaving Blake with massive trauma. But this time, Anicia wouldn't do such a thing. Blake was the second male lead in the original novel. He's portrayed as a beast that possessed pretty much facial, because apparently he there's like a curse that follows his family, so he people see it and they think he's cursed. He's gonna bring ruin to the kingdom, and especially since he's the only son of the king, they're like, no, we can't have him, he'll bring ruin to us. Yeah, and yet now he was behaving just like an innocent rabbit. The only person who could remove the crown prince curse is the heroine Diana. My role is to keep this little boy from getting hurt and then step down in time. But Anicia, don't leave me. This little rabbit keeps chasing me. Yeah, basically it's the whole, oh, girl gets reincarnated, ends up becoming the quote-unquote wife of the male lead, but either dies or gets jealous of the female lead and gets killed off. But in this case, because the real Anicia didn't want to marry, the cursed crown prince, she ended up taking her life. So she's like, no, I'm going to protect him, save him, keep him safe, so that way once the real heroine comes in, she can do what she needs to, and they can fall in love. But of course, instead with her, acting differently from how the character was supposed to, and also in this case, not dying, when she was supposed to, ends up changing the story a lot. To the point that now the male lead ends up falling in love with her. Then we got like another family that's, I guess, part of the not they aren't royalty, but I think they're like the longest noble family in the kingdom. And people were thinking that since the crown prince was cursed and wouldn't live past a certain time, that the king would adopt I think he's like a duke, the duke's son, into being the crown prince. So he, is this arrogant kid, ends up growing into an arrogant man, thinking that, the crown is his. It's already like set in stone, at least in his mind. Everything that belongs to the crown prince is gonna be his, including Anicia herself, even going to some point as like flirting with her, trying to like win her over, and she's like, no. But then, I don't want to spoil too much, because I remember it split to like 2 seasons, so it's like, there was like a break where they stopped releasing chapters, and then they came back, pretty much picking up what happened. Basically, like this, like huge evil, I think, happened, and something happened with Anicia, and she ended up disappearing, but then came back, and everything was like changed. It was like a good, like maybe 4 or 5 year that she like went missing. And then that's where like season 1 ends, and then season 2 picks up after that. It's really good. Oh, it's so good. But like I said, this one I think just finished, finishing up. So good. I love this one too. So next one, and this one's a really good one. I love this one. So this one goes by like 3 different names. So if you look up either one of these, you'll find it. Either the Frost Flower Knight, the Ice Flower Knight, or the Knight of the Frozen Flower. Not even sure how to pronounce her name. Yelena gave everything she had to serve her liege in love, Emperor Leonardo. But she was rewarded with betrayal and a death because of her ugly appearance, the result of an age-long family curse. Just when she thinks everything's over, she finds herself alive, 8 years before her death. Determined not to repeat her past mistakes, she ventures out on a journey to break the curse and become stronger. The question is, will that be enough for Yana to escape Leonardo's clutches? Okay, now this, I love this. This one is so good because so basically she's like the only daughter of like the captain of the knights. It's something that her family has ruled over for like generations. Her being the only daughter, that's a role she'll end up joining into. But like it said, there's like a age-long curse that her family is cursed upon that changes their appearance, makes them. Let me see, maybe I can pull it up. Basically, like pretty much warps her, like her entire appearance, where she doesn't even look like she don't look like this at all when you first see her. So, everyone like treats her like she's a beast, she's a monster. But instead, for the quote unquote crown prince at the time, he showers her with love and attention and tells her that she's true beauty is from within and he truly sees it. And she does she fall in love with him and she does go like to hell and back to, help him achieve his goal of one day becoming the emperor, leading the kingdom and all others that might oppose him being taken care of, which she does. And she thinks, by doing this, she'll win his love and affection. But of course, yeah, pretty much. She gets like the Princess Fiona curse. But instead, so when she, and this was like years into this, and then when he becomes emperor, he's like, oh, I have a surprise for you, and this kills her. Basically saying that all of it was a lie, he never loved her, there's no way he would love such an ugly thing like her. He was just using her power and strength and her family name to, achieve his goal of becoming the emperor. And now that he got it, he had no use for such an ugly thing by his side, disposing her. With that, she ends up again, waking up, 8 years into the past, still cursed, but then she discovers the way to break the curse because she noticed, in her previous life before she died, the curse was broken right before her death. So she, thinks back and discovers that she has to be like a certain level of skill and has to obtain this certain sword from her family to break the curse. So with that knowledge already, she ends up going to like I forget how many months it was. It was a couple of months where she just like went to seclusion, was training herself to reach that level to obtain that sword. In doing that, breaks the curse. Comes back, and now seeing that this is what she really looks like. This beautiful girl, everyone's fawning over her, and especially the crown prince. And also it turns out he has a second brother, from they're half brothers. They're not from the same mom, so they are. I think the crown prince's mom was like the empress or queen, and then the second prince's mom was like the second queen. So, like, I think the crown prince's mom died, then the king remarried and had a second son. So now the mom is trying to do everything in her power so that her son can become emperor, so that she can still, quote unquote, stay in power as being the mother of the emperor. But of course, the crown prince has been around a lot longer. Already has like a bunch of families supporting him, and of course thinks that Yana is gonna be that same person that with her family's reputation and whatnot, will be that link to securing his spot as emperor in the future when when they go to like knight her at her, I think, aging ceremony. And, of course they see what she really looks like, and they're all in shock. They're all like, what? This is the girl we've been hearing about? The girl who was cursed and looks ugly and looks like a beast. So at this point, superficial as ever, both the crown prince and the second prince end up like not falling in love with her, because you could tell for them it's very superficial. They just see her for her looks, and of course her power and her family backing. But she's like doing everything she can to not follow that same path of blindly following the crown prince or any other prince, knowing good well that she'll just be used in a power struggle and just be and then even in this instance, they won't really kill her off because, again, now that they know what she really looks like, they're like drawn to her beauty, and they're like, well, we won't, I won't kill her. I'll make her my mistress, or I'll make her, quote unquote, kind of be like the next empress. If, I can have her power and her family backing. And also being like, oh, who knows? Maybe if we have a kid, they can inherit her, her strength and her skills with a sword. Really just scummy, like, looks and be like intentions for her. But of course, now she knows what the crown prince really thinks of her. That his only goal is just to use her and use everyone really to get what he wants. And the second prince is no better, especially now that he has his mother like backing him up and egging him like, you need to do this so that you can outdo the first prince and be made emperor. It's really just a bunch of back and forth. But she ends up meeting some other knights, and then there's this one she ends up getting close with that's part of another like noble family that is known for like being really powerful and whatnot. So they end up bonding, and eventually they end up developing feelings for each other too. But with that, both the crown prince and the second prince's, schemes to get her on their side, and it's really funny because you see them try to use their quote unquote like looks and their reputation as princes to like win her over. They think all they gotta do is like smile at her, flash their smile and their charm and charisma and their position as princes, and she'll instantly fall for them like all the other girls. And she's like, no, hell no. It's so funny, and then she like deals with other people who like made her life miserable back in her previous life. It's so good. It's just one of them ones where the girl comes back, like, yeah, she's beautiful, but she's also kick-ass. So I love this one. This one's really good. And then this is the one. Oh, this one was so good. This is the one that everyone's saying like, oh, to watch the the Korean drama that they made for this. But it's just funny because I was reading this before I ever knew there was a live action drama that they did of this. So so it's Marry My Husband. It's called, so here's a little synopsis. It says, please cut me some slack, okay? People who need to live. You're going to die anyway. In front of me, who was sentenced to a life sentence, my only friend cried sadly. I died in my husband's hands without even meeting the time limit. And John Won, lunch time is over. 10 years ago, I awoke from my company. Another life was given after death. To change fate, someone has to enter my destiny instead. I choose someone as my friend. You wanted my husband. Basically, this is one of the ones where you have the main girl has a backstabbing best friend who tries to play up as a sweet, innocent girl, but really, she's cheating with her boyfriend slash fiance and then later on husband. Pretty much has been jealous of her whole life, thinks she had it easy, and decides that she's gonna steal everything from her, trying to be like her. So she tries to like steal her life, steal her work, steal her man. And in the first life it worked. She ended up getting like this really bad illness, and ends up, of course, having a time limit to when she's supposed to be alive. She goes home, she catches them in bed, she freaks out, being like, this is what you're doing, like, I thought we were friends, hell, I thought we were even family, and this whole time you've been cheating behind my back, seducing my husband, like, what is the point of doing all this? And of course the scumbag man, instead of apologizing, pushes her down, defends the side chick, being like, well, she's better than you in every way. She gives me what you can't provide. And in the incident ends up killing her by like pushing her and in her head like hits a corner of a table or a desk. Then of course, then boom, she wakes up back years before all this happened. I think at this point they were engaged or about to be engaged. And then she's like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing this again. Now that I know what you two been doing behind my back all this time. So she decides, and then we know she dressed like a lot more modestly back then. But she's like, nah, I'ma show up and show out. She starts dressing differently, doing her hair, losing the glasses. Of course, now the scumbag boyfriend, sees this change in her and it's like getting more interested in her. Of course, the cheating friend is, jealous, thinking she's just trying to one up her. It's like, bitch, please. Trying to do everything in her power to like seduce the guy. When of course, and in her plan, I love this. She's like, instead of like trying to get revenge on them, she's like, no, you did all this because you were jealous of me. You wanted to be in my place that badly that you did all this. She's like, okay, I'll set it up so that you get exactly what you want. You'll get exactly what you want. You'll get to be the position of his wife instead of just a side chick. You'll get everything I've had to endure. Then you later find out that apparently when she did officially marry him, the family was just horrible to her. Of course, the scumbag boyfriend has a scumbag mother that's just bullying her, harassing her, just doing the most, like pressuring her to have kids, that she needs to be more like a quote-unquote wife, being at home, having kids, caring for them, caring for her husband, making sure his needs are tended to, and her being the mother that all her needs are attended to. Like, ugh, I'm sorry, stuff like that just drives me nuts. Like what authority do you think you have to be bossing people around like that? Like the fact, even if I had like, I don't know, I couldn't be in that situation. I would lose it. I'd curse somebody out because there's no way I'm marrying your son and you're telling me that I need to. Like, where do we living in the 1800s to where the only role for a woman is to be in the house, cooking and cleaning and doing all that and catering to her husband's every needs, regardless of how he treats her, how he talks to her, whether he's going out, he's cheating, having all these affairs, maybe even starting second families. But I'm supposed to just turn the other cheek because I'm the main wife or I'm the one that officially married him? Get the fuck out of here with that. And because you think because you are the mother of my husband that you deserve the same respect and authority that he's supposed to be getting, so I'm supposed to drop everything I'm doing to attend to your needs. Supposed to be nothing more than like a baby maker to you, and especially in families like that, they're like, oh, it needs to be sons, daughters are useless, so you better make sure you produce a son, and whatnot. So with her having to go through that, them never getting pregnant, of course, not even thinking that it could be the guy's fault, they immediately go and they blame the girl, stressing her out even more. But then we find out that it actually is the guy, and he has like this, not a chronic disease, but basically something he was kind of born with, to the point that he would never ever have kids. So it was something he was born with that causes him to never ever have kids. But of course, she didn't really know that until after her death, or somewhere towards the end of her death in the first life. So she, of course, uses that as leverage as well, against them, being like, yeah, you could, I'll push them together. You think you'll have this happy, loving family. You'll grow a family together. You'll have kids. You'll have the perfect life. She's like, no, you're gonna have the mother-in-law from hell. You're gonna have a sleazy guy who will cheat on you any chance he gets, will bleed you dry, and he can't even provide you with kids, but he'll turn around and him and his family will blame you for it. So, and also throughout this whole thing, she ends up bonding with her. I don't think he's the CEO of the company. I think he's supposed to be like some director. He's like some supervisor. But we find out that they've been connected before, and he ended up time traveling back to, like, something happened in his life. And he ended up, like, if I'm remembering correctly, like, he ended up finding her, like, he kept an eye on her, saw kind of how she was treated, was really upset. He was like, why is she not standing up for herself? Why is she letting these two people, like, walk all over her like this? Like, he sees the affair, he sees how they're treating her, and he's like, why is she doing this? Why is she letting these horrible people walk all over her, treat her like this, and they're just out doing whatever they want behind her back? And, and I think in her first life ended up, finding her when they had quote unquote, killed her off, and promises in this life that he's gonna be there to protect her, from the, everyone else that's tried to hurt her. One second, I need water again. actually, I'm reading the okay, I still have the Google search, the Sweet Home webtoon. Apparently, it's on Netflix because it says "Read Sweet Home," the original story of the Netflix series. Okay, so it's on Netflix. I'll definitely check it out and see what it's about. But yeah, no, this one's really good. This one been ended, so it's just seeing her coming back, her fighting back, her doing everything she can to switch that awful fate that fell onto her onto the quote unquote best friend that was going behind her back, stabbing her in the back, doing all this. Don't you don't like oh, it's one of them horror shit? Maybe I'll read it instead. I don't know. I can read. It was just weird. I can kind of read kind of horror stuff like that. I don't know. If I watch it, it just gives me a different feel. So, I guess thanks for the update. I think I'll just read it. I'll just read it. And I'll let y'all guys know. Because, okay. Kind of good you gave me that. Kind of, yeah, no. If it's like kind of spooky horror stuff, I don't know. Me watching it gives me creepy vibes. But, if that's the case, I think I can read it. I don't know why. I can read stuff like that. I can't watch it. I don't know. Watching it just gives me, I don't know. Maybe it's too vivid for me, so then it gets stuff in my head. But reading it's fine, so I'll read it. So actually, let me make a note. I don't need that. So let's see, manhwas and web tunes recommendation. And it's sweet. Oop. Sweet. Come on. Sweet home. And look, it's on Webtoon, so I'll put Webtoon. That's where I can find it. Not sponsored by Webtoon, because you can see the, you can, they sometimes be doing sponsors for, like, VTubers, so, yeah. That's the case, I'll just read it. But, next one. Ooh, this is another good one. Kind of similar, but very different. This one goes by like 3 different names too. So you could either find it as The Perfect Marriage Revenge, The Perfect Way to Get Married, or The Essence of a Perfect Marriage. I saw it as the last name, which is funny, but then now I see like 2 other names pop up. So that's why for certain ones, I've been trying to find like all the other names that they go by. So that way, if you see it, you're like, oh, that's not it. But when in reality, it is. 9 out of 10, they have the same picture to represent it. So the wording would just be different. So, but still, let's see. This is An Jun Han. I don't know. Isn't sure where her life went wrong. Once the heiress to a wealthy business Mongo. She is now an ordinary housewife whose main concerns are her nagging in-laws and household chores. Things take a much more tragic turn, however, when she finds her husband confessing his love to her stepsister. Devastated, she runs away only to be hit by a car and killed. But when she opens her eyes, she finds she's awakened a year ago in the past before her life went awry. Given a second chance to life, Gina vows revenge, determined to take back all that she lost. Now this one, this one was juicy. I love this one. Again, a little different from the other one, but basically, girl grew up as like the only daughter of this really powerful, wealthy businessman. Something happened to her mom. I don't remember what it was. The dad remarries. Again, has horrible stepmother, and then has a stepsister who is, her own insecurity is jealous that, she isn't his real daughter. Or something happens to where she believes that she's his real daughter. So I guess that also fuels her jealousy of, why should she be getting all this good in life when I'm his real daughter too? I should be getting everything that's hers. Everything that's hers should belong to me. So she, of course, is one of the other ones where you got a scheming stepsister or half sister that's jealous of her, of the female lead. Decides to go and seduce the husband behind her back. Just go around spreading lies about her to everyone around her. Of course, the scumbag husband is no good. If you hear him cheating and confessing your love to your sister's stepsister, and then this whole time you're not protecting her from your parents that are harassing her, nagging her, forcing her, saying that her only duties are being household chores and having kids. Um, so like yeah, so all that happens. She dies, gets reincarnated, or time rewinds to a year before, and of course she's like, no, hell no, I'm not doing this again. Like immediately, I think at that point they're like engaged. They aren't married yet, and well, not this guy, because this is the guy she ends up getting with. But the first scumbag husband basically was just like, yeah, no. I forget what happens. It's like I'm trying to remember. I think she like works something with like police, because I think that's how they met. And then he saw like how confident and like really serious about the job, and he kind of was like falling for her. But she didn't believe it at first, because of the hurt and the betrayal she went through in her past life, and the fact that the way he kept coming off of it sounded kind of like cocky and arrogant, like he just assumed, or she thought he assumed she would just fall to his feet and worship him. She's like, yeah, no, I did that once, and look at where it got me. So she's like, at first she's not interested, but then she decides that the best way to, I guess, to get rid of the other guy and to have some extra support against, her family, and of more important, the stepmother and stepsister, is to have a guy from a powerful family that they really can't really afford to mistreat or say some crazy stuff to, that as kind of like a backing. And with that, they end up falling for each other, kind of learning more about each other, how they connected in a way. Of course, the stepsister is not happy about this at all. She sees, her upgrading to this guy. Of course, she doesn't know it's a act in the beginning, but with them, falling for each other throughout, just gets her more jealous. She tries to make some moves on him. Of course, coming up with lies, saying that, oh, she's only doing this to get back at her ex, because it wasn't even like that. I think it was he was just one of them like weak-willed guys that just couldn't say no and always was trying to make excuses for like everyone else around him, and it's like, shut up. So, but of course, she didn't like this, didn't like how much of an upgrade her life was getting. All her plans to like ruin her life in the background just went down the drain, just fuels her even more. And like the stepmom, they're like, no, my daughter deserves all the happiness and the glory and the rich and powerful man by her side. You don't deserve that. Also, if I remember, I think it's this one. I think the stepmother was always putting into her head like, you're not your dad's real daughter. Your mother had an affair. You're the daughter of someone else. Or being like, oh, your mother was a horrible woman. She drove your dad to sadness and depression or something. Always just putting her down, saying negative things. Thinking at one point was like, oh, you're not really his daughter. Just like pretty much warping her mind so that she, I guess, wouldn't fight back when they were pretty much trying to move in, kick her out of the life so that they could have the perfect life of being the daughter of a rich man and eventually marrying a rich man, to even a richer man, to have that lifestyle of luxury and trips and jewelry and whatnot. And it was crazy. But this one was really good. A lot of twists and turns. Like I said, them eventually starting off rocky, but them falling for each other, really falling for each other, and them just uncovering the schemes of the stepmom and the sister, opening the eyes to the goddamn father who was just totally blind and oblivious, just listening to whatever they said, and then not really, like, not seeing it objectively, and then, finally seeing, like, yeah, this is what your wife and what your stepdaughter was doing behind your back. The fact that they were doing this to your other child. And I think it was like at one point eventually found out that she never really loved him. She was just with him for the money and the name and the status. And like I said, I think at one point was like lying, was like, oh, she's really like that the stepdaughter was really his daughter, but then was like, no, she's the daughter of someone else, and it was crazy. And then his family wasn't any better. I think he had like a scheming cousin or brother or someone in the family that was jealous of him, didn't think he deserved his like the the role he had in the family. She's trying to take him down and end up getting entangled with the stepsister, and it was a mess. It was such a mess, but it's so good. I love this one too. Ooh, now this one I actually haven't finished reading this one yet, and I don't think it's completed. But it's called Remnants Adonis. Nanya and Arhard had much in common. They both only cared about themselves and were madly obsessed with each other. The difference is one wanted the other's warmth, while the other wanted submission. Though Nanya's life ended in a heated battle against Ardhard, the kingdom's emperor, she is reincarnated into the same life for reasons unknown. Two people who faced misery in their previous life now have a chance to meet again. Will the same tragedy repeat itself, or would Anya change the course of history? Now, this one's good. Basically, she kind of grew up alienated from her family. Yes, I'm not gonna lie, her red eyes and hair did draw me in. But I love the story because because in the beginning you find out she had like a really shit life. Basically, like she was the illegitimate child of like this really powerful lord or something. I forget what his title was exactly, but basically, like, he had a wife. I think they have a daughter or a child together. But her mother like seduced him or used magic to like manipulate him into getting with him, and then end up having her. Of course, with didn't want to abandon her, but didn't want anything to do with mom, so like brought her in, but neglected them both. It drove the mother insane. Even after all that, he never turned to her, never showed her the love and affection he showed his wife. So was always pushing her to basically kind of be like her, be this crazy, bitter, take revenge against them for treating them badly. Ooh, excuse me. And also it didn't help that the rest of the family, especially like the servants and whatnot, always treated her badly because she looked exactly like her mom. So they always was like, oh, she's just that awful reminder of, the thing that almost tore this, beautiful and happy family apart. Even though the Lord didn't really have much to do with her, and he really didn't do much to protect her. But his wife, was always trying to be there for her when she could, try to shield her from it. But of course, in her previous life, she didn't really see it like that. Even then, when she got reincarnated, she like kind of acknowledged her efforts and saw that she did try to be there for her. But she kind of gave up all hope for her father, being like, listen, you had the chance to be there for me, to protect me, but you chose to ignore me for the mistakes or for the crimes that my mother committed, which was not right. So she's like, yeah, I kind of, quote unquote, acknowledge you as my father, but you were never a true father to me. So once she reaches a certain age, she ends up, enlisting at like this swords academy or some type of academy where you can learn like different skills depending. You can do like swords, magic. I forget what the other departments were, but there's like some that are kind of quote unquote designed for others. A lot of the guys sign up for like the swords class, while the girls do some other stuff. So the fact that she joined the sword class gonna get a lot of controversy. A lot of the guys thought she was just there to pretend. Pardon me. Thought she was just there to pretend, that she didn't really have any skills. That maybe she was just there to like look for a guy who was, strong and powerful. I love when she shut them down. Oh, it was so good. Also, I love that I love when certain characters fight with like these like fencing swords or these like certain like rapiers. These are so good. So she fights with something like that. But of course, later on, she ends up meeting the Arnhard, and they kind of slowly start bonding with each other. At first, I think she tries to be like wavy of him because their history in their previous life, but I think it's slowly building up to him. We kind of see like his, I guess, feelings for her slowly growing. So it's really interesting. I don't remember where I stopped, but I was at a good point where at this point we can clearly see he has feelings for her, but I think he's still kind of confused about what it truly is. Like he hasn't 100% confirmed that he like or said it to himself that he's in love with her. I think he's still in that mindset of, oh, I want to own her, I want to control her, because of her strength, her power, her bewitching red eyes and hair and whatnot. But this one's really good too. So I definitely would recommend this one as well. This one's pretty new. This one only has a few chapters out, and I don't think this goes by any other name. At least not the one when I was looking. Basically, it's the Emperor's Lost Child. Rosetta is a reincarnated one, someone who recalls their past life from another world, but is framed for the murder of Duke Lachut. Whatever. I'm not even gonna try. She goes back in time right before his death to save him, and is shocked when he says she might be the Emperor's lost daughter, foretold to be the last reincarnated one. However, Cornelia, or Cornin? Okay, it sounds like Karen. So Karen, another reincarnated one, insisted that she's the true daughter. Will Rosetta be able to uncover the truth about her origins, or will Karen be crowned as an imperial princess instead? This one's pretty interesting. It's the whole... It's interesting how they do the whole reincarnated one, of being like, yeah, they're kind of born in this world, but they just one day just wake up with memories from their past life, and because of that, it like gifts them magic powers that they can like create things from their world and bring it into this world. So with that being something she's able to do, they're like, oh, then you must be the Emperor's lost daughter. We find out that the mother was pregnant, something happened, and the daughter went missing, and then like the mother died shortly after. Like either the mother died during childbirth and the child was taken, due by those who thought maybe she would threaten the crown prince, or some other ridiculous reason, or maybe just out of jealousy. Maybe someone did it out of jealousy. They wanted to be the Emperor's woman, but her mother ended up being it, and they couldn't accept that, so they took her daughter as revenge and shifted her off somewhere else. So when we meet her, she's like living in like this... I don't think he's a duke. Basically, she's living like in this noble family. She's been a slave. She's been mistreated. The daughter, is always torturing her and just being a horrible little piece of work. Like, oh my god. But then when she develops the same ability as Rosetta, she's like, oh, like her dad, which at this point we're like, how evil the both of you are. There's no way she's not your kid. Basically like, oh no, if that's the case, then you might not be my real daughter. You might be the Emperor's daughter. Trying to do everything they can to like manipulate the situation so that it would be like, oh, she's really the Emperor's daughter. To find some way to get his daughter into the royal family, in a way, and then I guess to find some way to incorporate himself so that he could gain power through that too. But with her, being there too, kind of throws a wrench in that a little bit. I remember they do some type of test that they fixed, so it showed that Karen was the daughter, but suspicion was still on her. So they were like, no, you know what? We'll keep both girls in the palace, keep an eye on them, see what they do, see what develops, and then we'll have a final conclusion after that. And then throughout the whole time, we see Karen. She's basically been like a total bitch. She's going around, walking around like she owns the palace. Everything has to be her way or the highway. Anyone who doesn't listen gets severely punished. She's cozying up to the like she's cozying up to the crown prince, to the king, to all the other like noble families and sons that are incorporated with the royal family. Pretty much just being like, it's just total nightmare. And everyone's looking like, this is the previous queen's daughter? They're like, she is nothing like her. They're like, she was nice, she was kind, she was soft-spoken, she, was always willing to be a helping hand to people. She just had this air about her that just, just breathed, just soothness. And they're like, this girl is not it at all. And we kind of see, like, the king, the crown prince, and like this other noble boy that ended up like helping her and getting her into the the palace, they're slowly seeing like she has more of the characteristics of the queen. And another funny thing that they point out, they were like, "Oh, you see glimpses of her," and they're like, "Oh, she had pink hair." Which I guess is another thing that kind of like throws them off. They're like, "Oh, okay, maybe that's not really her daughter." But then they're like, "Wait." I think like her sister, who's just like some like powerful lord, is like, well, as time went on, her sister's hair slowly started changing from pink to to I forget what color. I know it's like yellow, but it was like the very specific like type of yellow that they said. So they were like, yeah, then her like platinum blonde or something like that. I don't remember. It was something like that. Basically, like her hair changed from pink to like this like platinum blonde, and so they're kind of being like, so there, there's a possibility that that's her daughter. Like I said, and they're like seeing the characteristics between the two of them. They're like, she smiles the same way as the queen did. Maybe she said something that the previous queen said, exactly like verbatim, and they're like just connecting the dots, and they're like, this girl has too many similarities to not be her daughter. And it's pretty funny because we see the king and the crown prince. They're like, when I feel about her, I feel this sense of like familiarity with her. I feel this like I want to protect her. I want to keep her safe. I want to, make sure she has all the good things in life. I want to be there for her. But then when they're with Karen, they're like, I don't want to be around this bitch. I don't. Like, they tolerate her for like appearance wise, but they're like, I don't want to be bothered with her. They're like, she's nothing like the king's like, she's nothing like the daughter I envisioned. And the crown prince is like, she's nothing like the sister I envisioned. They're like, why does Rosalia, like, why does she fit that image of what we thought the daughter and sister was going to be? And I think at this point in the manhwa, they're pretty much at the point being like, yeah, there's a good chance that they tampered with the test, to clarify if she was really your daughter or not. So that the other girl was your daughter or not. It's obvious they did something to manipulate the machine. We're now like collecting evidence so that way we could force a retrial with a working with the working device, and that's kind of where it ends for now. It hasn't updated since, so it's kind of like that. I just know more troubles is gonna be ahead. I know Karen and her real family are not gonna sit by and just watch her get kicked out of the position of Imperial Princess. I know her father has some reason why he wants to do it 9 out of 10, and so that his daughter could be incorporated into the royal family and find some ways that he can worm his way in, and then maybe eventually take the crown for himself. I don't know. 9 out of 10 is probably some crazy power struggle, power hungry, greed thing like that. So, but it's so interesting just seeing, this girl trying to be her best, just doing whatnot, and the other girl, she's going above and beyond to do this way. The minute she doesn't get her way, she throws a fit, and she's just like, she thinks and it's so funny because she thinks what she's doing is being like, yeah, well, I'm the princess. I can do what I want. This is my right. And she thinks this is like shining her in a light. When in reality, they're like, this is the princess we all been waiting for. This is the girl who's supposed to, also because the reincarnated one's supposed to be like this not omnipotent, but basically like there's some type of prophecy with them that they're supposed to like save the kingdom or save the world or something like that. So they're all thinking like, this is the girl that's supposed to do this. So yeah, but this one's really good, so I definitely recommend that. Okay, yeah, this is another one. Goes by 3 different names. So, the real daughter of the Lin family, or My Brothers Dote on Me, cause that's how I found it with that name. Or I Turn Wild After Being Favored by My Brothers. The story of Punyan is a classic trail betrayal, in which a girl's family chooses their adopted daughter over their own. So when a fan of the story mysteriously slips into Young's body, she's understandably out for blood. Starting with the shady director of the psych ward she was relegated to, the Young sends out to punish every sin committed against her in the book. and she hasn't forgotten the wicked Quinn Yin Yojoha, who wrongly assumed her place as the daughter of the Quinn family. Just how far will Youngin go to reclaim her rightful place? So this one's good, and there's actually a few of them like this. So basically, something happened. Both daughters get switched at birth. They both end up growing up in different environments. Maybe the daughter of the real rich family ends up getting like not maybe a poor life, but like not super rich, not really, having her every need catered to like that. While the other girl, grows up with this family, being loved and spoiled, getting everything she wanted when she wanted. Them eventually finding out that they were switched at birth, that they are supposed to be for the other family, but for whatever reason, and 9 out of 10, it's usually the mom, which is so odd. Especially in this one, because you could see the family resemblance. Like, she looks like her mom. But the fact she's like, well, I can't just grow a bond with you like this. Or, which would be understandable, but she does it to the point where like, she's so hostile towards her. She's like, you're just trying to come in here and steal my daughter's rightful place. And it's like, no. If anything, I'm your daughter. This is the family I was supposed to be in. Something happened where we got switched at birth. I understand that, you've grown up with her, you've raised her since birth. I'm not saying that you can't have that same relationship with her, but the fact that you're just so quick to just, like, disinherit me, treat me like I'm not there, and every little thing that goes wrong in your darling fake daughter's life, you turn to me and you treat like it's my fault. And when in reality, it's the fake daughter that's going around spreading these rumors, doing these things, pinning it on her. And of course, the other family, like I said, crazy enough, 9 out of 10, it's the mom is blinded by this. Like, oh, my daughter would never. She's perfect. I raised her to be that way. Yeah, you raised her to be a little bitch like you that goes around manipulating people to get what she wants. So it's like that's why you love her so much, because you turned her into a little mini you. The fact that your own daughter didn't turn out like that, it irritates you, because you're like, ugh, she's nothing like me. Of course she's nothing like you, because she didn't grow up to be some selfish, arrogant, entitled woman who believes that by lying and manipulating people around her, she can get what she wants. So with this, she ends up meeting, the real family, meeting all the brothers. And funny enough, they at first, I think in the beginning they were like hostile towards her until like the new person like inherits the body. And then something happens to. It's almost like the world like resets. She finds that like, so she goes. She's like, yeah, f you, f this family. I don't need you. You can keep protecting your little daughter. Doing what you think is best for her. But in the end, she'll drag you down with her. And it's funny because now you see all the sons are like, yeah, no, I'm not protecting this faker. Because it turned out, like, I guess in a previous life, they all, defended her. They saw their real sister as, like, not the traitor, like, the outsider, the one that was ruining their family dynamic. But then they found out just how scheming and evil the other girl was, and they're like, and how manipulative she was. And then they, like, realized, like, wow, this whole time she was just manipulating us so that she can get her way. So they're like, now they're like backing her up. She meets this other like guy from a rich family that's helping her out. It's really good. Ugh. Let's see. Ugh. Need some more water. Let's see. Yes, this one. This one goes by two different names too. The youngest daughter of the villainous duke, or the real youngest daughter of the villainous duke. After passing out drunk on a cold night, I awaken as a nameless young orphan girl. But she's not just any girl, she's a character from a novel I wrote in high school. Abused and sold at an auction as a slave, I'm suddenly rescued by my father, Duke Henry Vensogray, the story's original villain. Far from the wicked character I created, he's now a total fool for his daughter. But our relationship isn't the only thing that's changed, as I soon discover that this world isn't anything like what I wrote. So this one's pretty funny, and there's a lot of them like this, where basically the creator creates this story maybe years ago, or maybe they're in the middle of writing it. Something happens where they something, either they die or some otherworldly being comes and zaps them into the game or the world, and they end up being reincarnated. Sometimes as an extra character that they didn't write, or as the villainess. But in this case, ends up being the secret daughter of the villain's family. And it was like, I'm trying to remember why something was happening why they got separated. Like why she was like sold off and was, not really tortured, but was mistreated and whatnot. It's been a minute since I read this one, but this one was pretty good too, because she, gets there. She finds out she has 3 other brothers. I think, are they all older? I know 2 are like older than her. You can tell. Cause one looks like he's like in his like maybe late teens, maybe early 20s. One's a bit older, like maybe his early teens. But then there's another one. They're about the same age, maybe a couple of years difference. So I would say, yeah, she has like 3 older brothers, all of them like resembling different characteristics of their parents. They find out that she finds out apparently that she's the only daughter and the last child from the Duke's wife. Looks exactly like her mom, except I think she has like the dad's eyes. So, just kind of bonding with this family, making up for all the torture and whatnot she went through. And like she said, kind of discovering the world is a lot different. It's been a minute since I've read this one, but I do remember reading like a good couple of chapters before I don't know why I stopped. I think some other ones caught my attention and I just stopped reading it. But this one's really good. It just gives a different perspective of kind of like the person didn't die in this case. They just kind of just went to sleep, woke up, and now they're in this whole other world as a different person. Okay, let me go to the next one. Ooh, this one's good, and I wish they make this one an anime too or something. Basically, I should be the matriarch of this family. Excuse me. Hiraitia was reincarnated as a legitimate child of the richest family in the empire. She had thought that everything would go well in the future, but when her father had passed away, her relatives left her at the doorsteps, and the honorable family she was so proud of was completely ruined. But is this for real? She drank a lot, and was hit by a carriage. When she opened her eyes again, she was 7 years old. Moreover, the second prince, who was the enemy of her family in her previous life, is following her around like a dog. Tia, you're prettier than me. Are you kidding me right now? No, I mean it. Although both the second prince and the family are mine, in this life I'll have to become the head of the family. So yeah, basically, when they said she's like an illegitimate child, only because I think, if I'm remembering correctly, her parents didn't get married. Either like the family didn't approve or something happened. So they ended up getting together, having her. The mom passed away, so they brought her in. She has an uncle and an aunt who have their own set of kids. The aunt has like 2 twin boys, which her story was totally crazy. Like she has these 2 twin boys that look exactly like the dad. Finds out that I'm getting too ahead of myself, but then she has an uncle who has 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. But kind of recalling her past life, once her like dad died, and I think the grandpa passed away too, who was the previous head of the family, the eldest son took control, kicked her out, and pretty much just caused the family to fall into ruin, falling for all these schemes and traps and whatnot, and pretty much just brought the whole family's reputation down and completely ruined them because of his own stupidity, his own big-headedness of thinking because he was the eldest son, he had the right to rule the family as he chose fit, and no matter what he did, no matter how wrong it was, he was in the right. Which, of course, again, ended up causing the fall of their family. You could definitely see that his eldest son inherited the same thing, because he walks around acting like he owns the place. Everyone is there to listen to his requests and his demands, or to do it right away, or else there'll be consequences. Like I said, does have a little brother, three younger siblings, two boys and a girl. It's horrible to all of them. So when Tia, cause they call her Tia, when she knows, she's like, yeah, no, I'm not standing for this nonsense anymore. It was like, it's because of you and your dad that you end up ruining our family in the future, causing us to go into ruin. She's like, I'm not gonna do it again. I'm gonna do what I can to keep grandfather alive as long as he possibly can, and I'm gonna find whatever caused my father's death to prevent that as well. And then, building up her reputation in the family so that one day she could rule it instead. Especially since we find out that before the grandfather passed away, and before she was kicked out, she was helping him a lot and had a lot of really good ideas that the grandfather would have implicated, but once he passed, they weren't willing to listen to any of her ideas, saying that they were stupid, that they knew better, and just kicked her out, and of course ended up causing the ruin of their family. So also with this, she decides that her family needs like a powerful, or needs to be connected to like the royal family, because later on the royal family ends up playing like a role in causing the downfall of their family as well. Mainly the Empress family. Turns out that one of their, if not both, I think a daughter of the family ends up marrying the eldest son, and then one of the sons ends up marrying the aunt. Like I said, that whole thing was just a turn in the taft, because this whole time the one that married the eldest son is just feeding him all this nonsense and just saying, oh no, it's a good idea and whatnot, when in reality she's working behind the scenes to tear the ruin the family. We find out that the husband of the aunt's been having like a secret affair, and that the only reason why he wanted to marry into the family was to gain like their name and their fortune and whatnot, and was using it to like fund his secret family, or like his secret life with the mistress. Which that was so good, because when she confronted him, like she showed up at the house that he had like created or built with like her family's money for the mistress. So he like went out to go get something. She was just there. I think she like slapped him, and she was like, yeah, we're done. She's like, this is what you've been doing. You've been using my family. You've been plotting behind us. And to top it all off, you're now using my family's money and resources to help protect and fund your mistress. And like, you're doing all this, and we have twin boys. Like, she's like, no, I'm done. You are out of the family. You have no connection to us anymore. You can't use our family name or nothing for absolutely anything. And it's so cool. Even the sons, which is funny because they look exactly like him. So I think in his mind, he was like, oh, my boys, you'll understand, right? Please convince your mother that this is wrong. And they're like, sorry, we don't know you. Like, you're not our dad. Like, how could you do this? That was such a good scene. But yeah, so we see, what's another thing with the crown prince? Well, not the crown prince, because it turns out that there's a second prince that was like banished because of his appearance, his black hair and red eyes. So they kind of saw him like as a quote unquote curse on the empire. But and also the empress didn't like the idea that there was going to be some type of competition that could possibly get in the way of her son becoming the next emperor. So she like had him sent away and was eventually going to kill him off. So Tia, jumps in, has her family like shelter him and sponsor him, so that once he was ready to be acknowledged by the royal family, he would have the backing of her family and have enough strength in himself to, withstand anything that the empress threw at him and his half brother as well. So I haven't continued reading on. At one point now, there's like a huge time skip. She's like 16 or 17 now. I think he's supposed to be like 2 or 3 years older, so he's like 18, 19, or 20 now. Now that they're older, now the empress is like trying to force her to like an arranged marriage to like, I guess, cut off, any more of the development she's having, trying to, I guess, get everything back on track to what happened in her previous life. And the dozen is also trying to just get rid of her in general, seeing how close she is with the second prince, and just every other scheme she's had has fallen apart because of her. So it's really good. I do need to continue that because I don't think it's finished. I don't believe so, but it's so good, and we can kind of see like the second prince. At first he had like some really like maybe a fondness for her, kind of saw her as like this like otherworldly being that like saved him from this tragic life he was living. But now seeing that he's like really falling for her, she of course didn't really see that. She thought maybe he was just attached to her because he didn't really have anyone to have that closeness with besides her once she like found him and protected him and with her family. But I think now is she is slowly starting to realize her true feelings for him as well. Okay, this is the one I was talking about. The one that I, oh, excuse me, the one that I heard was supposed to be getting like some type of animation or an anime, but I have not seen it anyway. Who made? Here it is. Who made me a Princess anime? Has been set to release in 2024. Okay, 2024 is almost done. Where is it? I don't know. Maybe it got pushed back. That's what it says. It's a Dongho animation adaptation of the Manhwa adaptation of the web novel Who Made Me a Princess. It has been set to release in 2024. Yeah, but 2024 is almost done and still nothing. She looks familiar. I mean, you may be. I know the trailer, like, crazy enough, kind of blew up on YouTube when it like was released. So that's why I was like, wow, a lot of people had read this. I had no idea. Yeah, it said it was announced back in May 2023, but then said it was supposed to be released this year. But then, like, this year's almost over. We got like 1 month to go. I mean, unless it's gonna come out sometime next month, but I doubt it. But I don't know, I guess we'll wait and see. So I'm like, I know it wasn't crazy. I'm like, when was this supposed to come out? Like, the trailer I saw was like a while ago. But yeah. So it's, Who Made Me a Princess? One day, when I opened my eyes again, I became a princess. Being born as a silver spoon has its perks, but why the hell would I be the very princess who dies at the hand of her own father? A person who has no blood or tears. Emperor Claude. If I don't want to die, I shouldn't stand out in any way in his eyes. But since when in my palace has this trash existed? Anastasia? Oh, Asia? I don't know. I can never say these names. Who stood out in the Emperor's eyes? Will she be able to survive? What should I do? So this one's actually pretty popular. I mean, so popular it's supposed to be getting an anime adaptation. So, well, I guess we'll see. But basically, yeah, I guess, what do they call her? Like Athena or something like that, something closer. So yeah, basically, girl wakes up, she gets reincarnated, finds out that she's supposed to be like the quote unquote the only daughter of the emperor, but her life ends up turning for the I think she lives through her first life, dies, gets reincarnated, and she's like, I'm not going through this again. So like she goes through her life thinking like she's the only daughter, the only one like who ends up being the next queen or a ruler of the kingdom, but then finds out or believes to find out that he might have had a second daughter with another woman that people are saying that he was the one that was the one he was most in love with, especially with the way he was like treating her nicely, was meeting her out, and pretty much like kind of neglecting her to the point like she got jealous, got angry, was trying to like minimize the other girl's presence, but in doing that made her look bad. Something happened, I don't remember, that they like was like, oh no, this is treason, and then they like put her to death or she was killed, gets reincarnated, gets sent back, and she's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this again. I'm not going through all of that just to get killed again. So she goes to different plans. She at first wanted to like store gems so that once she became of a certain age, she could just run away from the kingdom and not look back. That didn't work out. The emperor ended up starting like taking notice of her, which threw her off because in her previous life he like really didn't acknowledge her as much. Um, so with that, she ends up turning to her attention of being the like being so loving and like irreplaceable in his eyes, so that once the quote unquote second daughter appeared, she wouldn't lose her position. But at some point that stuff like kind of happens, but also like magic manipulation, brainwashing, and um other forces that wanted to like take down her dad, put up the rightful ruler to the kingdom that they believed. Yeah, it's just a bunch of toss and turns, and her trying to figure out what she should do, what should she stand behind her dad, even after like such a traumatic event that happened, after all the time they like bonded with this time. It was just really, it's so crazy. But as you can see, in the end, it all works out. The truth ends up becoming revealed. There's so many much more things, a lot of magic involved, and it's really good. I definitely would recommend this 100%, and I hope they do the anime because I want to see it. I think it'd be so cool, and it looks so pretty when you see the trailer that they posted. So let's see. Ooh, this one's good too. The villainess turned the hourglass, or the villainess reversed the hourglass. After her lonely mother married a count, Arya enjoyed a life of luxury while harassing her gentle stepsister Melia. Or Milla, I don't know. Several years later, Arya is about to be executed when Melia reveals that she wickedly tricked Arya into building the bad reputation that ultimately brought her to the Scav hold. Just as Arya desperately wishes she could change her fate, she sees a curious hourglass that takes her back into the past. Now, Arya can destroy Melia by using her own tactics against her, like a true villainess. The power of the hourglass is on her side. Can Arya take everything from Melia, or will her actions change the past in the way she couldn't have imagined? Yeah, so this one's pretty this one's really good too. So, yeah, mother marries a count, gets ends up getting a step sister and brother, I believe there's a boy. Yeah, he ends up being like super creepy towards like one point. But like you could tell that he was sexually attracted to her. And it's like you knew this from when she was a little girl. But then again, it's like the dad was no better. You know the whole family was just fucked up, but they put off this facade that they were just perfect family. They couldn't do no wrong. They were just a perfect family. But finding out that everything that happened to her, the bad reputation, was all just a setup for her. Ends up getting this power where the hourglass you see her have just appears in front of her, and she ends up having it when she goes back in time. And with it, she's, if I'm not mistaken, she's only able to turn back time by a few seconds. And I don't think that ever grows. Maybe it does. Either it's a few seconds to maybe 1 or 2 minutes. She can turn back the time. So whenever yes, it's pretty short. I don't think it's any shorter than that. It's either a few seconds up to a minute or two. Because I know something ends up happening towards the middle that she knew that using her hourglass wouldn't be able to fix the situation. It would still happen again. So, yeah, that's something she learns with the hourglass. She tests it out a few times, knows what her limit is, and that she has to use it precisely at certain times to avoid situations or redo them over again. So with this, she plans to fix her reputation, become this perfect model daughter who rivals Melia. That just, and I guess in a way slowly tried to unravel who she truly is. And then didn't you find out kind of the reason why she did all this was because she hated the fact that a quote unquote commoner girl and her mother, married into her family, ruined her family dynamics. And she was so disgusted by the fact that this commoner was walking around like she was part of the family that she was willing to do whatever she could to get them both out of the family. which is so messed up. But then later on, she ends up getting entangled with like the crown prince of the kingdom and his like quote unquote like forced fiance and her little situation with her family. It was like it's so crazy. But in the end, she gets her happy ending, gets gets recognized for who she truly is. Ends up finding out who her true father is, because he actually plays a huge role later on in the story. Learning more about her powers and her abilities. And it's funny enough, 'cause I think her powers and abilities play a huge role in the family they end up forming towards the end. It's really funny. And it's really nice, and just seeing like kind of the switch of being like, yeah, you try to pretend you were this perfect girl, you could do no wrong, so I'm gonna do the same thing and expose all your evil. And even if you didn't, I'll do something to make you look bad, like you did with me. Next one. This one just finished too, actually. I tamed a tyrant and ran away. God gave me a chance to relive my life. Before my birth, I spent the last 400 years as the Empire's sword, a little magic blade forged from my cursed body. And so, after centuries of my soul being trapped and forced to kill countless people against my will, I soared to destroy the Empire that has so ruthlessly abused me. Excuse me. I found the young prince of the country and became his teacher. I taught him how to become a tyrant and asked for the country. I will do as the lady wishes. He conquered the whole empire for me, and I ran away. I came to take you back. Carly's Rona. Dylan had become a perfect tyrant and searched the entire empire for me. You tamed me, so why did you run away? This one's so good too, because you also kind of find out. I mean, the synopsis kind of gives us a bit, yeah. Basically, she was like the sword master. Was really powerful, and the previous king saw this and like cursed her, forced her to become this sword, and then was just using her to do all these atrocities for hundreds of years. So I forgot what happened to where she was able to like reincarnate and turn back time and go back to how it was before all that. So she decides she's gonna tear down the empire, I guess quote unquote from the inside out, by getting close to one of the princes that was, at the time I think he was like being isolated. I forgot for whatever reason. Probably something dumb. To like mold him into the perfect, perfect tyrant she wanted. So that way she can get her revenge on the empire and the people that used her. And most definitely, I mean, she didn't really do anything to them but her family. We find out that her father and I think just brother, I think there's two brothers. Like her whole family treated her horribly, because they blamed her for the death of their mother, because I believe the mother died giving birth to her. So they were never really able to get over their griefs, or at least the dad wasn't. So he always treated her horribly, never celebrated her birthday, never acknowledged her, always treated her like she was worthless. And then, I mean, like, in a way I feel bad for the brothers, but they, like, at least the oldest one, not the oldest one, the youngest one. The oldest one can kick rocks as well, because he was old enough to know the difference, but he still, treated her horribly, blamed her. The youngest one kind of didn't really know any better, but, was, I guess, a way maybe was afraid that if he treated her nicely, he would get the same treatment, so treated her badly as well. And then when they kind of see her, like, growing, being recognized as the next crown prince's teacher, getting all this recognition, and her just being like, I have nothing to do with this family anymore. You had your chance to be a family to me, and you blew it. And I forget what happened. Something happened to where he was able to, like, meet his dead wife. They were able to, like, talk and confirm and, like, kind of, like, keep her up to speed. And I think at one point she was like, oh, how's our darling Dollar? How she's doing? I hope you've been treating her well. And then he, like, explains kind of, like, what he's been doing, how he's treated her all these years. And she just broke down. She's like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you treat this beautiful child like that? But she had nothing to do with that. Like, I didn't give my life for her to be born into this world to be treated like that. Like, it really broke the wife down. She was like, I can't believe you did this. You, like, that's not the reason why I gave my life to her. I did it because she was a symbol of us. I thought you would treasure her, treat her like a princess. Instead, you did the complete opposite. You were horrible to her. It's no wonder she wants nothing to do with you. And just like, was just like, I'm so disappointed in you. How could you have done this? You treated our child horribly all her life. And now you expect her to just turn around and be a family to you? No. Ugh, it was so good. But, once she, kind of got revenge on the emperor who forced her to be that sword for the hundreds of years, just taking revenge on all the people that just used her and treated her horribly, she was like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go off and just do my own thing. Which, then, if something she didn't account for, was that the prince ended up being completely, devoted to her, in love with her, even obsessed with her, to the point that after she left, he became even more of a tyrant, hunting her down, wanting her to be by his side no matter what, whether she wanted it or not, and them just going through the motions of that. This one's really good, and like I said, this one just previously ended. There's a chapter that released maybe a couple of days ago, if not maybe sooner than that, with a side story of their lives kind of after the main story gets completed. So I definitely read this one. This one's really good too. Let's see. Yes, the Empress wants to avoid the Emperor. When Louise realized that all she got in return for slaving away for an incompetent Emperor is an early grave, she decides to ditch her role as Empress, get a job within the palace, and finally earn a steady paycheck. However, her husband is ousted from the throne overnight and replaced by his long-lost brother, Regan. Just when Louise is about to celebrate her divorce, Regan announced that he'll keep Louise as his Empress. She tells Regan that she'd rather be his subordinate than his woman, but this new villainous employer tells her to be both. So this one was so good, because it was just that whole slap in the face of just this horrible guy that just takes advantage of this girl. So basically he's the second son that ended up becoming the emperor, but as you saw, he's just completely incompetent, can't even do the basic things for his kingdom, forces it on her, and all this while he's having an affair, bringing in his mistress, showing her around, treating her like she's the empress. And of course the mother-in-law is just being the Empress Dowry, I think they call her. It's just horrible to her, telling her she needs to do her job as a wife, as an empress, and hurrying up and producing a son. We later find out that the reason why they were so quick on forcing the marriage was something to do with her and her abilities, and that they wanted those abilities to be passed on to a child with their, bloodline. So then we find out that she was sending letters to her family talking about how horrible her life was, how she wanted them to come and help her, but she never got any response. So she believed her family abandoned her to pretty much deal with this fate. But then we find out that that wasn't true at all. The former empress was taking all the letters and keeping them away. So in their mind, her family believed that maybe she turned their back on her, when that wasn't true. So when word gets out that everything's been just a huge, elaborate plan from the former empress and the emperor, they're listen up. And it turns out that her family is from the most powerful military family in the kingdom. No one rivals their strength, not even those that work for the royal palace. So and also they're able to wield magic. So her brother shows up to pick her up, sees that the emperor is being rude to her, defending his mistress in front of her, even to the point that it looked like he slapped her and knocked it over to the ground, telling her to apologize to the mistress. She plays it up, being I'm sorry, you're right, I should just do whatever you say. You can, continue having your fun with her, and I'll just do all your work, and you can just do whatever. Not exactly in that, but pretty much airing up their laundry of how he's been treating her, how she's been doing all the work. He's so incompetent, but yet he's out here going around the kingdom and the palace with another woman, treating her like she's the empress. I think even at one point, she announces that she's pregnant, so they're like, oh yes, finally an heir to the throne, the first prince. Even being like, even because she's not officially married, that they would force her to take care of the child and raise it like it was her own. It's like what? The absolute nerve. Who the hell do you think you are? You're going out here doing all this, uh, cheating. You could barely do your job. I'm doing it for you. You're out here cheating and doing the most. Your mother's horrible. But the moment your mistress gets pregnant, you're being like, well, we'll take the child, we'll adopt it, and you'll raise them like your own. The hell I am. So I think that was kind of like her breaking point. She was like, no, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm out. You can deal with yourself. So she like does all that, announces it. The brother, he is just pissed beyond belief. He's like, oh, so that's what's been going on here. This is how you've been treating the daughter of, I forget her family's last name. It's like, so this is how you're treating the only daughter of the, pretty much the most powerful military family? Okay. So the pretty much being like, okay, this is war. Like her and her brother were ready to go to war, for what they end up finding out what's really happening. So they were like, he was like, okay, no, she's coming with me, no questions asked. And if you got a problem with it, I will burn this kingdom to the ground right now. Because we find out he can like control fire and whatnot. So he's like, don't test me. I will burn this palace to the ground with all of you in it. So he takes her home. She meets the dad, and then kind of being like, her being the only daughter, you could definitely tell she was definitely spoiled and very loved in this family. So she runs into the dad's arms, tells them what's been going on, and like I said, they're ready to go to war for her, being like, this is what you've been doing to my daughter. How dare you treat her like this? How much disrespect do you think? Like, the fact that you would disrespect her this much is insane. The fact you did all this, you kept it from us, you made it seem like you guys were treating her right, treating her fairly, when your son's just an incompetent loser who can't do his job, yet he's there going out, cheating on her, having kids with his mistress, thinking he can force my daughter into taking care of his mistress, his child, you not caring as long as, your son had an heir to the throne, treating my daughter like that, and in a way was still trying to like force a kid out of her because of whatever magical ability she had, and we're trying to find some way to, in hopes that her abilities would be transferred on to the kid that she had if connected with like royal family. But then like we find out that they've been hiding out the long lost brother, that the empress isn't his real mom, I believe, like as usual, stepmom, that saw him as a threat from her son being emperor. So I guess like sent him out on a mission, and then like sent assassins or whatnot, or sent him like on this impossible mission so that he would die, and in doing so her son would be the only rightful heir to the throne, as the only one left with royal blood. But he comes back, pretty much immediately kicks his brother and the empress out of the palace, being like, yeah, well, I'm back here to claim my rightful spot. Clearly, you're not doing your job right. If you're here forcing other people to do your job, or you're just doing whatever you want, there's no point in you still being here. But at the same time, she thinks by doing this, she'll be free from the royal family. She wants nothing more to do with them. She just wants to just go back and live her life with her family. But when Regan is like, no, you know what? You guys never really truly compensated your marriage. You guys never had your first night. So that means your marriage was already null and void. We'll just keep you on as Empress. Because we see he does have feelings for her, but she doesn't. It's not in the moment, because she's like, why does he act like we should know each other? When we find out that they did know each other from when they were kids, but something happened where she lost lost all her childhood memories, so a lot of her memories are like blank, and they believe this also has something to do with her abilities that the royal family was like hunting for. So it's really good. Let's see. Ooh, this one's good too. I became the male lead's adopted daughter, or the male lead's little lion daughter. You know what? I had more, but I'm My throat's starting to kill me. So I think we'll do. How many more do I have? I'll give you one quick sec. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. Get rid of that. I forget that my other thing is connected to my. Let's see. Oh, come on. Okay, so we did 11 so far. I think I can do like maybe one or two more before my throat completely gives out on me. I think I've seen this one too. This one's really good. This one's been getting updates recently, so they've come back and started uploading more chapters. But so basically, the handsome Duke Tora is the most terrifying man in the Empire, with the coldest demeanor and a gaze that could kill. But one day he suddenly says he wants to adopt a child, and that child is me. After finding me at a shady orphanage, he whisked me away to a snowy palace without a second thought. Now I'm learning all the ways of the feared Ryoto family from his knights. However, things get dicey when the Duke becomes suspicious of my origins. With these fangs and jet black hair, perhaps we're more than just kindred spirits. Yeah, I think I'll do like maybe one more. Like maybe one or two more, depending on if the other one's short. But yeah, basically with this one, he like, I think what happened. I think he was kind of missing that bond of having other families, because his lifetime friend was married, has 2 kids, or like just had like his second child, which was his son. And I think he like not bragged, but kind of like saying like, oh, there's no other Jordan like holding your child in your hand, in your arms. And he was just like wanted to adopt a child, found her, but then later found out that apparently she is connected to his family, as he had a female cousin that ran away when she was, I guess, of age in their world, that she was supposed to be married to another noble, but instead ran away with like this like upcoming knight, like fell in love with this upcoming knight, and they ran away together and were never seen. So now they are, well, not, they're 100% convinced, but they're pretty much like, well, your black hair and eyes are signs that you're like somehow bloodly connected to our family. Only people with those like physical characteristics are born with this into this family. So they're like, okay, so clearly you must have Meridian blood from somewhere. And he's like, wait, I did have a female cousin who disappeared like over 10 years ago, I think. I forget how old she's supposed to be. And that they put that together, but they realized that if they did that, then that would kind of bring more shame to her, because excuse me, because they would see like, oh, she's the daughter of a woman who abandoned her family for, commoner soldier, that ended up like disappearing. Something happened. Child was in an orphanage, and then we find out like the orphanage was just horrible. The people running it were just completely terrible, except for one who was doing the best she could to like actually protect the children. Get from all the other greedy adults who were either beating the kids, not feeding them properly, were using the funds for their own like endeavors and whatnot, either for gambling or were using it to cheat on their spouses and buy their mistresses or lovers like gifts and whatnot, or just to go out into the town. Which is pretty funny because when she gets adopted into the Duke's family, and kind of tells him like, yeah, these people did this, and this to her, he like rounds up all the people, kind of points out like, oh yeah, you used to pinch me whenever I didn't do exactly what you said. You would mistreat us. You would hit us whenever you were frustrated. You would do this and that to us. It was just, and then he like, when him and all the other people in the family like heard this, they were just like, wow, I can't believe you did all this to like innocent kids. But then pointed out like, oh no, whatever you do, don't do anything to her. She actually cared about us, did what she could for us, and whatnot. So now pretty much the story is like her going through everything, learning more about this family, kind of also learning more about um, her family. I mean, in a way, like her mother. At this point, they kind of already confirmed that the mother is the cousin that ran away. But at this point, her father's still a mystery. They don't know who her real father is. Like, they know he was a knight that wasn't from like a royal, like any from like noble family. But so they have no idea if he's like a dead or alive. If he like halfway through maybe abandoned her and her mother, and something happened to the mom, and she eventually, she ended up in the orphanage that she was in. So yeah, at that point, but it's kind of that, and then they're like fighting with the emperor because he is kind of an asshole. Just he acts like he's an authority, but then he's scared of the duke and his powers, but then still tries to like undermine him because he can't stand that someone's more powerful than him. So it really rubs him the wrong way. So it's just really funny. And yeah, I think I just. Ooh, actually, this is a good one to stop at. So I'll do this one, and then you will call it a day. So then we'll do a part 2, and maybe I'll add some more because we went through a lot today. I still have like 10 more I didn't go through, so maybe I'll add some more. And this one, last one we'll talk about is Sincerely I Became a Duke's Maid. The other names are Tender Tart, I Became a Duke's Maid, Unripened, I Became the Maid of the Duke family. Leonard was stricken with a hideous curse at a young age, shunned by his family, rejected by the only people who ever loved him. As the supporting character in the novel, he's doomed to a role of misery and loneliness. That is until a sympathetic reader is suddenly transported into this fictional world as his lowly maid, determined to change his fate. Would Evelina break Leonard's free of his wretched destiny and help him find true love after all? Yeah, so basically, he's like the son of a duke, but you can definitely tell from the beginning, like his parents' marriage was forced, was only really done in the hopes of producing an heir. Once they got the heir that they wanted, both parents kind of just abandoned their duties as parents, only really kept up appearances when they had to. Both kind of lived their own lives with their own affair partners. I believe the dad died first. Like, went on some trip with his mistress, I believe, and died. Oh, excuse me. And then, I think instead of, like, kind of, even if just for appearances, like, moaning his death, like, immediately, like, moved her lover into the house, started showing him around, and then something happened, and they ended up dying? Like, ended up going on some trip and ended up dying on the way there or on the way back, leaving him alone. All the other like maids and whatnot are afraid to get near to hear him because of this curse he's afflicted, which you later find out was actually forced upon him by the emperor, because this curse was actually supposed to fall upon his son, the crown prince. But of course, to do that, didn't want his son to suffer through that, but instead he pushed it on to an innocent child so that his son would be free from the curse. In the original novel, he doesn't break the I don't think he ever breaks the curse. Or he does after he meets the female lead. She does something, breaks the curse, he falls in love with her. But at that point, she's in love with the crown prince, which, fuels his anger, and resentment that he can never really have anything to himself. It's always taken away by others. Tries to do rebellions, but ends up getting killed, and then everyone else rejoices and get happy ever after. So with this, someone who's like sympathized with the tragic story he ended up having, gets transported into the book as a maid. Does what she can to like pick up his spirits, give him life, and something happens to where she ends up breaking his curse way earlier than it was supposed to be in the story. So with this, he like grows really close to her. Everyone sees it. Even at one point, people were saying they were growing too close, that she had to leave. Now that he was free from the curse, he had his duties as I want to say he's like a duke now. That he had his duties of a duke to fulfill. Eventually he was going to get married to like another noble's daughter, start a family and whatnot. So she did end up leaving, thinking it was for the best. But of course, at that point, he was already madly in love with her. was like saw her as the only person that truly was there for him, cared for him, which she was. And this, starts from there. But we have other people getting involved, like the crown prince ends up being enamored by her, kind of in a way because she doesn't fawn all over him like all the other girls do, so he's intrigued by that. Then we get the female lead, her interacting with this and her being jealous that the crown prince is showing her attention, and just that whole whirlwind of them all getting involved and trying to figure out feelings, and her trying to come to terms of, should she really, give her heart to him, even though it will, change the story, even if it is changing the story for the best. So, but yeah, this one's good. This one's done. So they do get like a happy ending, see what happens, and it's even a bit story that kind of follows their family and what events they end up going through in the future. So it's really good. I would definitely 100% recommend that one as well. Yeah, I think I'm done. I don't think I can do anymore. Let me... I think we did pretty good. We did like what, 2 hours of me just talking. Like I said, there's still a lot I didn't go through, and there's still so many that I didn't even add on to the list. I was actually thinking if we had gone through, that I was going to actually... Oops, not that one. So I was actually gonna go here. I'll show you real quick. Gonna go to Webtoons and go and just point out some other ones that I've talked about, especially like the Remarried Empress. That one's good. Oh, this one's really good too. To whom it's no longer concerned. Oh, I'm the queen in this life. Oh, this one's so good. I'm so hooked on this whenever a new chapter comes out. I haven't read that one yet. Let's see. I haven't read that one. I recommend and Jimmer as well. Actually, let me... or I'm reading this one too, Melty Slowly. That's a good one. Oh, and this one too. Go Away Romeo. Oh, that one's so good. I definitely want to talk about that one next. But, what else? Oh, this one's good. I've been reading this one as well. Let's see if there are any other ones that I see I'm reading at the moment. Oh, the one I talked about, Marry My Husband, so good. Oh, this one's good. I stopped reading it for some reason, but this one was pretty good when I was reading it. I remember reading this one, but I don't remember much of it, and I know there's an anime for this. So I'll definitely have to go back and reread it, or watch the anime. Or I'm also watching, I just keep saying watching. I'm reading this one. This one's good. Did I? I think I read this one too. That one looks familiar. Oh, that's the Perfect Marriage Revenge. Ooh, I read this one too. Sixth Sense Kiss. This one's really good. Ooh, this one too. The Remarriage Contract. I think it's a live action of Shubid. I think so too. I think I've seen that pop up as well. I don't know why. Like a live action of it keeps popping up. Well, I think maybe around the time the anime started coming out. Maybe people were posting, oh, there's a live action of it too. Oh, No Marriage is Perfect. That one's good. I think did I read this one? Maybe not. I think the characters look similar to another one I read. Oh, this one's good too. She Would Never Know. Okay, let me stop, because if not, I'll go through this whole list of all the ones I've read, or I'm reading. And I'm losing my throat. Oops, except that too. But yeah, no. If anything, I'll just add on some more to the list we did. So we'll definitely do a part 2. There's so many more Actually, before I forget, let me save the ones you just recommended to the list. So I got Sweet Home, Utan, and Alright. Let me see if I Google it. Will it pop up? Okay, look, they have it on Webtoons as well. Alright. So just double check. It's this one, right? The one you just recommended? A comedy about two ordinary high school boys. This one looks funny, so I definitely will check this one out. But, yep, that's it. Alright. So I'll save that. But, yep, that's it for me, you guys. Definitely will come back here, do a part 2. Again, want to thank everyone who came, who watched me, whether you're watching me here on Twitch or YouTube. Again, I want to thank you for everyone who followed. We were able to reach our 25 goal, and now our new goal of 50. I'll definitely have that updated, probably by tomorrow, since we will be doing a stream tomorrow. I'm supposed to be doing Crash tomorrow, right? Maybe depending how I feel, because I was tired when I tried doing Crash, and that thing was giving me a headache. So, we'll see how I feel. If not, maybe we'll jump into Weathering Waves or something. But, yeah, that's it for me. Let me go, so I can rest my voice and get me some sleep, because I am exhausted. But, yep, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope everyone has a great night, and hope you guys had a great Black Friday shopping. You guys were safe. And yeah, I definitely will, and I hope you rest well too. So, alright, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!